Hello, this is Josh from Switch to Play, and I just wanted to say before you listen to this episode that we recorded Monday night like we normally do, but 10 minutes after we stopped recording, Arda Turan went from Atletico Madrid to Barcelona. This is a massive transfer, obviously, so I just wanted to say that we haven't forgotten about it. It's just we recorded earlier and sadly missed it, but we will talk about it more in depth next week on the podcast. So, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Switch to Play episode 5 with me, Tom, Josh, and Mikey. No Pat this week, unfortunately. His internet has died. This week we're going to be covering the usual transfers and the rumours. Also, we have a bit of the Copa America Final and the Women's World Cup semi-final and final. Let's get right into it. Mikey,
yes.
What transfers went on this week?
Alright, we have Eder to Swansea from Braga, Coates to Sunderland from Liverpool, Janko to Celtic from Man United, Rekic to Marseille from Man City, Falcao to Chelsea from Monaco, Matthews to Sunderland from Celtic, Podolski from Arsenal to Galatasaray, Klein from Southampton to Liverpool, Vidra from Udinese to Watford, Distan from Everton to Bournemouth, Capoue from Spurs to Watford, Baptiste from Bolton to Borough, Holtby from Spurs to Schalke, Bakker from Sevilla to Milan. We also have Luis Adriano from Shakhtar to Milan, Douglas Costa from Shakhtar to Bayern Munich, Montoya from Barcelona to Inter, Miranda from Atletico Madrid to Inter, and Imbula from Marseille to Porto.
Thank you, Mikey. Josh, what transfer do you think out of them? What one do you think will make the most impact at the club that they move to?
Klein from Southampton to Liverpool.
Yeah.
As really Liverpool definitely struggled with their defence from last season, and they did the season before when they had that casual push, but it's always been their weak point, I'd say, in the last few years under Rodgers and Dalglish before that. So with the addition of Nat Klein, it's definitely strengthened his options, especially because obviously Emre Can was playing right back for most of the season, and that's not his strongest position, so he needed to get a right back, and done their business very well to get Nathaniel Klein from Southampton for a fee of which is presumed to be around about 12.5 million.
I think add-ons will take it a bit up, but even the 12.5 million, that's a steal for probably the most informed right back last season, because he was consistent every single game. He was probably the first team on the Southampton team sheet.
Yeah, I think he dropped off a bit in the last couple of months after playing for England in those February qualifiers, but overall he had a terrific season, and clubs like Manchester United and Liverpool were interested. So clearly he's a good player if you're getting wanted by two very good clubs, two top clubs in England.
Yeah. Let's go to the Liverpool fan in the call. Tom, what are your thoughts on this move?
Obviously Klein is a brilliant transfer for us, because we kind of struggled in the fullbacks positions like last season. We got a choice of Glenn Johnson and Manquillo, like out and out right backs, and neither are the most reliable players. So bringing in someone like Klein, definitely be first team, means you don't have to rely on players like Emre Can to play there, and also frees up players like Emre Can to play in positions he's more likely to thrive in and play better in. So it's just improving the club in more than one way.
Yeah, I think for 12.5 million it's just a massive bargain, because I think Southampton could have got at least 15, pushing maybe 17 million for them if teams were willing to pay it. But Liverpool, that's a nice bit of business. On to Mikey. What transfer this week is? Do you think they'll have a good impact at the club that they're moving to?
Maybe not as impact, but I think quite an interesting one is Falcao going to Chelsea, because he can just go one or two ways really. He can be really good, or he can just be the same as he was at Man United.
Yeah, I think this one is just, they've signed him, they're going to pay his wages, and he probably will be back up for the first few games, and then Costa can't play 2 games in a week every single week. So I think Falcao will come in, and I think he might do a good job. I think he might. It depends how Mourinho coaches him in the first few weeks.
Well, if there's one man to get the potential out of Falcao, it would be Jose Mourinho. So I think it's a brilliant move for Falcao's career, because whatever he does, really, I think they'll still win some sort of silverware next year. But I really do think Falcao can flourish at Chelsea and be a very dangerous striker in the Premier League. So defenders of the lower clubs should be worried, really, with this signing.
Yeah. I think the other teams in the top four's defences might be a bit worried, because Falcao's record elsewhere, not like last year, he didn't have such a good season, but he is a proven striker, and he knows how to find the net and the awkward positions.
Yeah, certainly.
And he can certainly take on defenders, and he's not afraid to challenge himself against the bigger and stronger players of the league.
In form Falcao, as you saw, we saw him with Porto and Atletico Madrid. He was unplayable, and when he scored that hat-trick in the Super Cup against Chelsea, that was one of the best centre forward displays I've ever seen in my life. So he's got the potential, and I think, and I hope, really, for his sake, as a football fan, I hope that Jose can get the best out of him.
Yeah, Thomas.
No, I was just going to say about Falcao. I can't really see him reaching the heights that he has. Like Josh said, like his performance in the Super Cup, I can't really see him, reaching that heights. But I'd like to see him get in form for Chelsea. I'm not sure. It all depends on what Mourinho can do with him. But at the end of the day, I think he is the most. He'll be a good signing, but I think it was still risky after the season he had with United. He's hope that he can turn that around this season and produce the goods for Chelsea.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Carlos Bacca from Sevilla to AC Milan, that's a massive talking point, a massive step for AC Milan. Really massive intent from them to at least try and be in those European places next season in Serie A. Tremendous signing, because Carlos Bacca was immense last season, scoring about 18 goals for Sevilla, and obviously he won the Europa League with them, so I think that's a terrific signing from them. And again, they also signed Luis Adriano from Shakhtar, who's, whenever I've seen him play, he's been really good player, so he will bring a lot to the team.
I think with AC Milan and Inter Milan are making massive signings to improve the league status for next season, because this season I think both of them finished 8th and 10th respectively, and that's just not good enough for clubs of that size.
Oh, it's the first time both Milan clubs hasn't had European football in 60 years, so that's the magnitude of it, and it's a sad day for football fanatics, really, because obviously when we were growing up, AC Milan and Inter Milan, they were the biggest sides in Italian football.
Yeah,
but obviously now it's shifted to Juventus and Roma. But with these signings, they're clearly building something, Inter and AC Milan, because Inter this week have signed Miranda from Atletico Madrid, and they signed Montoya from Barcelona. So Mancini's definitely getting some signings.
They also signed Kondogbia as well. Yeah,
they signed Kondogbia a couple of weeks ago, so they're signing a lot of players, and I really hope that they can blend together and really get 5th, 6th place, or challenge for maybe Champions League. But Mancini is a very good manager. He showed at Man City, he won the league. No, he didn't do very well in Europe, and that's why he got sacked. However, in the league, he was a terrific manager for Manchester City. So I really hope that he can pull off those kind of things for Inter Milan, and I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I think back to the AC Milan side of things. But with Bacca and Luis Adriano coming in, it's 2 very, very attacking signings. Like, they already have some good attackers in Menez, Honda, El Shaarawy, etc.
Yeah.
I think Baka will obviously be starting because of how well he done last season. Where is Luis Adriano a cam, or is he a winger?
I think he's a winger.
Yeah, I think he might play on the right side,
Mm.
and they'll stick with El Shaarawy on the left.
Yeah.
But we have to wait and see. Obviously,
Yeah, it's all about squad depth, really. And
Yeah.
I think with these
Mixing
two
it up.
signings, they need to. They're a bit. They struggled for goals. AC Milan last season with Inzaghi in charge. They really did struggle for goals. So the chairman has clearly thought, we need to bring in some attacking players. And Carlos Bacca, he's a proven goal scorer. So he'll give AC Milan a lot of more goals.
Yeah, they're both proven goal scorers. I mean, obviously Bacca, we saw his heroics in Europa League, and a lot of hype about him. He's scoring a lot of goals for the club, and then obviously Adriano as well, scoring goals. I think he left Shakhtar as the club's all-time leading goal scorer. So obviously he's a big impact player, and only Ronaldo, Messi, and Neymar managed to score more goals than him in the Champions League. He scored 9, and they all scored 10.
I think he scored 5 in one game. I can remember that. That was quite.
But it shows that he's a brilliant sign. It's a big sign of intent from them to improve their football and climb them up the table.
Yeah. Moving on. I don't want to speak about. Well, obviously this is going to lead to transfers, but the business that Watford are doing themselves is just amazing.
Yeah, Capoue signed
Capoue and Vidra this week, and I think Stambouli is going there as well.
Yeah.
And also they've signed Prodo from the Bundesliga, and it's the left back from Roma.
Halabas.
Holebas. That's 5.
Yeah, it's a lot and they signed another goalkeeper too. So they've got a lot. Both, two of the 3 promoted clubs have done a lot of business in the close season, really, with Watford signing 6 players and Bournemouth, I think, 5 or 6 too.
Another transfer that I would like to speak about, Eder from Braga to Swansea. Yet another attacking, a proven attacking signing for Swansea after they signed Ayew as well this season. Eder, he's been very, very good for Braga in the last few seasons, and he has bagged himself a move to the Premier League. I don't think he'll play from the start. I think they'll stick with Gomes because Gomes done so well last season. But I think if Eder can certainly score some goals in the first few games, I think he can get himself a first team place and hopefully give us all some good performances. Right, on you go, Michael. Take it away.
I think that he is actually a very similar player to Bonney when he came in. He's quite tall and strong. He's that type of player. I think he fits into the sort of Swansea philosophy that they've got going with the strikers at the moment, like Gomes and Bonney. They're both quite strong, fast players that love to get in the box and try and win the headers and stuff like that. And I think he's quite similar in the sense that he's just got them attributes really.
Yeah. I think he'll fit in the team very well, and he'll take over from Bonney, which Gomes done very well last season. But also they're missing the goals that Bonney gave to them.
He's a good replacement for the price as well, only 5 million.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else want to talk about any of the transfers that went on this week?
Yeah, I just want to talk about Miranda to Inter Milan.
Alright, on you go then.
Yes. And also Montoya as well, because I just think that they're both it's nice to see that Inter and both the Milan clubs actually are just trying to work themselves back up, and I think that Miranda's a really good signing for the price as well. I think it only cost him about 4 million. No, it wasn't. It was only 10 million, and he's a proven Champions League defender, and he can hopefully help them get back into that competition. And Montoya, he's from Barcelona, so he's got to be of some quality, and I think he's a good player as well. So they're making moves in the transfer market well, and they're just playing it right, really.
Yeah, I think Montoya has just never really had his chance at Barcelona because Dani Alves has been consistent for the last 3 seasons, and now bringing in Alex Vidal, that means Montoya's not going to get a game at all. So he's done the right thing in getting a move away Nou Camp and into the San Siro, which will improve his career because I'm guessing he has to be first choice now. I know, and bringing Miranda, he's a commanding centre back. He's tall. He can head the ball. He can play it on the ground as well, which is always good for a centre back these days because you always want a ball playing defender to just pass it out from the back and move forward because that's what football's about, getting forward and then at the end scoring the goals. Transfer rumours this week, fresh. Asma Begovic from Stoke to Chelsea. Chelsea first of all put a £6 million bid in for the Stoke keeper, but unfortunately Stoke rejected it, and I think Chelsea put in another bid of £8 million, and Stoke are yet to make a decision. Thoughts?
Well, I think it would be an interesting move for Asmir Begovic because he's been such a good keeper for Stoke in the past. God knows, about 5 years or 6 years. He's been so consistent.
5.
Yeah, he's been really consistent, and he's always, I don't know, there's been some sort of rumour about him to Manchester United like every summer. Well, not every summer, for about the last 2 seasons. So, but I think it's a strange one because for a number 2 goalkeeper, because let's be honest, Courtois will be number 1.
He's just too good.
So as a number 2 goalkeeper, teams would always want a really promising young goalkeeper in number 2 or a really experienced head. So
and he's kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
but he's also yeah. I think is he 27?
Yeah, he's in his prime of his career. He's the right side of 30. So I wouldn't say it's a step up in some ways, but it's a step down in others because he won't be getting first team football.
Yeah.
But then again, he will be winning trophies. Probably most years.
It's not mattered to him for the 5 years that he's been at Stoke, so why should it matter this year? To be honest, but I would say at Stoke, to be fair, you can get a lot more experience. Just keep getting the money that he is getting at the moment. I think
sorry. He'd definitely get more money at Chelsea. And as a pro, you got to think like Stoke. Yeah, good, getting first team football, mid-table,
top 10
every year.
Well, they're actually improving now.
Yeah,
because
but then you could go to Chelsea and win trophies, get a lot more money. Yes, only playing the cup games, but still, if you're playing for Chelsea, you'll be around wonderful players, world-class players. You'll be around getting marked by Jose Mourinho. For me, I think that is too tempting to say. Players want to win trophies. Begovic at Stoke isn't going to win a trophy, let's be realistic.
I think going and sitting on the bench for maybe 70, 80 grand a week, I would happily take that, right? But just because he's been so loyal to Stoke, I wouldn't like him. I wouldn't like seeing him on the bench every week at Chelsea.
Yeah, I guess
I would hate to see that because that would ruin him. Well, not ruin him, but you know what I mean. Like, he wouldn't have the best impact.
But I think, like, it's a great argument because there's 2 views that you could see it in a positive
two
way.
sides of the coin.
And it's still about Begovic to decide if a fee does get agreed. But 8 million is a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but
for Stoke,
they could bring a couple of good players for that, and they've already got Jack Butland as a number 2, and he can easily be a number 1. So they wouldn't be able to. They don't have to buy a new keeper, or they might have to buy a new backup, but obviously they can easily buy one for 8 million.
Sorry.
I was going to say, for Chelsea fans, obviously the sign of Begovic, like, on the bench, what a player to have as backup. You know, if anything happens to Courtois, they can just bring Begovic in, and there's no worries about it. You know, he's going to be able to just take straight over, and I'd say he might get more game time than Pedicek did. We'll have to see if he goes through or not. But I think in terms of like the Chelsea fans and the club, it'll be a fantastic transfer for them if it did go through, because he has been so good for Stoke, and bringing him on in cup games or even due to injury, it's there's no worries about it, and they can just continue playing without worries that they've got a keeper there who isn't very experienced, who isn't very good or not proven yet. So
I suppose, if you look at it, you can look at it both ways.
Yeah,
I
like
think.
we said.
Yeah. Moving on, another rumour this week. I think there's always going to be a rumour. Toby Alderweireld from Atletico Madrid to either Spurs or Southampton. Spurs have made a bid, and Daniel Levy is going to travel to Madrid in the next couple of days for a meeting with the player and the club. But there's a twist in the story. As Southampton had the buyout clause after his loan deal last season, Atletico could have cancelled the clause, but according to PA Sport, they didn't cancel in time. Therefore, Southampton believe they are entitled to sign Alderweireld and may look at a legal argument if he goes elsewhere.
This is intriguing with Toby Alderweireld. It's hard to say the fucking name. It's a really long name. Because according to obviously PA Sport, it looks like Spurs are going to be favourites, even though Southampton have that buyout clause and all that. It looks like Toby Alderweireld is going to be travelling to London. I think he's in London already, according to some sources. So it'll be interesting if he does sign for Spurs. That if Spurs or Southampton don't take any legal action. But yeah, it's intriguing to see.
I think if he does go to Spurs, I think him and Vertonghen will do very well, because they're two Belgians, I believe, which that could work well.
Yeah, he's a great player. He was certainly very solid for Southampton last season. And he did say in an interview about March time, he said, "I love the club, I want to come back." So it might be just saying that, but it looks like Spurs might do the deal. But I think this might run for quite a long time due to just legal actions and courts and shit. That's not our kind of strong point.
Nah, we're not. We are not lawyers.
No, we're not.
Let's just.
And let's not talk about anything more about this, because we don't want to get in trouble.
To be lawyers.
No, we don't want to get in trouble.
Therefore,
let's leave it like that. That's enough of legal stuff.
Tom, do you have any thoughts on this rumour?
Nah, other than just he was played day in, day out. He was one of the best players. He was reliable, and Southampton, and I think it'd be disappointing for them if they don't get him back. But it's looking like Spurs are probably more likely of the two right now to bring him in. But as Josh said, it's going to take a while to see exactly how this progresses.
Yeah. Moving on, a really exciting rumour for one of our people on the podcast, Stuart Downing from West Ham to Middlesbrough. Michael, what are your thoughts on the legend coming back to the Riverside?
Obviously it'd be an amazing signing for us as a championship team to have a former England international and Premier League quality player obviously in our squad. And I was reading a thing the other day, and it said there's a few interesting points, like surely West Ham would want to accept a bid from a championship team rather than accept one from their Premier League rivals, because he won't be playing against them if they accept ours. But then if he goes to Sunderland or Leicester, he can, and their teams that are around them in the league table, he's going to be playing against them. You know what I mean? And then secondly, Downing said back in 2009 that he wants to return to the club in the future, and he's obviously born in Middlesbrough. He's still got a house up here, and it's just seeming more likely every day that he's going to come back. And we were speaking to West Ham representatives today about a deal, and they've said now that announcement won't be made today because I don't know, they were negotiating, but I don't know if a deal had happened, but we should find out within the next week or so whether he's coming or not.
Sounds like a really, really interesting signing. I think if it was any other Championship team, I don't think they would have a look in. But I think because it's Middlesbrough, because he kind of made his career there, and then he got a big move. I think that is more. It's looking more and more likely every day, as Michael said. And I think for Borough, that will be a really good signing and trying to get them up and back into where they belong, really.
But I think Middlesbrough have missed out on one signing to flip it because Jelle Vossen has gone to Burnley on a permanent deal, and he was really good for Middlesbrough last season. So I was surprised when he went to Burnley. I thought Middlesbrough would try and re-sign him from Genk, but clearly he didn't want to go back to Riverside, and he wanted to join Burnley with Sean Dyche. But
it's interesting because at first it seemed like he doesn't want to come, but there's like a lot of people now saying that Karanka just chose not to go back in for him because he just wasn't impressed by him this season. Because obviously he was our worst scoring striker out of Kike, Bamford and himself, and I just think that rather than get him back, and we'd just be asking for the same, but we need to improve from last season. So I think it's better just signing another better strikers than Vossen.
Yeah,
I guess so, but I think he was playing quite a lot as the number 10, wasn't he, Michael?
I'm sure if we wanted him back, he would have came. You know what I mean? But we just didn't bother going back in for him, and he's gone to Burnley.
Is Kike still there? Was he on loan?
No, Kike is still here. He's our only striker at the moment.
Yeah, that's that. Keeping Kike is really good for Middlesbrough because if Bamford wasn't playing, Kike was, and Kike was scoring as well, which was important for Middlesbrough last season, pushing on to the playoffs. But sorry, the less said about the playoffs, the better.
He looks really old, doesn't he?
He does.
He looks so old. He's like Diego Costa in that sense. Diego Costa. Because he looks so old, Kike.
Yeah, he does look a bit old. I think it's just I don't know.
I guess it's kind of Spanish heritage, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Anything else on the Stuart Downing or Borough's transfers?
Covered it all, really, very well.
Yeah. Covered all the bases. Let's talk about one more rumour.
I was just going to say I was quite interested in the possibility of Johan Cabaye going.
I was just about to say that.
PSG to Crystal Palace.
Coming back to the Premier League.
Fantastic. I was going to say that'd be fantastic for Crystal Palace. Having a player of his standard and his quality to be one of the better players. His form was so good that a team like PSG wanted to go in for him, and at the moment he's our favourite PSG, and supposedly Palace put a bid in, and talks have been going progressing positively for Palace, and I think for someone like to bring him in, that'd be a huge boost, because I think once they get underway, once they got going the last couple of seasons, they've been brilliant, and they've had manager changes which has kind of mucked up, I'd say, the start of the season. But hopefully with a manager like Pardew, or he's staying in, it doesn't look like he's going to leave like
anytime soon.
Yeah, it's like everyone thought Tony Pulis was there to stay, and all of a sudden that left, and obviously that's a big knock to a club like Palace, who had done so well before. But I think having that consistency and bringing in players like Cabaye, who he's managed before, it's just going to be a huge boost.
Yeah, I think Cabaye going there will improve the midfield. Will improve the very, very strong midfield that they already have, because Joe Ledley, MacArthur, Punchin, Jedinak,
Zaha Balassi.
Yeah, Zaha Balassi. The midfield that Palace already have is pushing them on to a top 10 finish at the moment, and Cabaye could take them further. He could take them a lot further, because the passes that he can pick out, the accuracy that he has, the vision as well, is just phenomenal. for a player like that.
I know some people were saying that a player like Kabay is unlikely to go to Palace, because he's too high quality. But I think when you consider their ending, the ending position they're getting in the Premier League, bang in the middle of the table, that's the kind of transfer. If they're going to improve on their position season by season, this is the kind of transfer they've got to be bringing in. I think it's very easy to say, he's too good for the club or whatever, but I think it's the kind of signings that they need to make, and I think Palace, if they do manage to get this kind of transfer going, and they manage to hold on to, Balassi, who was a standout player. Punchin's been consistent and he's been fantastic for Palace. If they manage to hold on to those kinds of players, then I don't see why they can't improve on their position next season.
Well, they're making big strides, to be honest. They're making massive big strides to get up that league and to challenge the top four. Well, not the top four, but to challenge them in games which they do. Which, when you look at like Chelsea versus Palace, you just think, Chelsea win. But if Palace have a strong midfield and strong attackers and defenders, they can really give them a challenge and then knock them off the spot.
But Kabay, back to Kabay, he obviously before PSG he was at Newcastle, so it wouldn't be Crystal Palace and Newcastle at the moment are really kind of the same sort of team. Obviously, history-wise, Newcastle are a much bigger team than Crystal Palace, but at the moment, Crystal Palace and Newcastle, you could even say Crystal Palace are above Newcastle at the moment. So I don't think that would be a problem for Kabay.
I don't think that will put him off. To be honest, I think Premier League football. Premier League football does attract the best players. Well, not Messi and Ronaldo, obviously, but Sanchez, Costa, Hazard, etc. And he's already been here, so he must, he knows it and he loves it as well.
London life too. It's always positive.
It is. Quickly scurrying on to the next topic, which is the Copa America Final. Chile 0, Argentina 0. Chile won 4-1 on penalties, which is kind of ridiculous for Argentina. Early on in the game, Angel Di Maria pulled his hamstring, and that is a massive big problem for Man United fans. They are going to be worrying now.
They're going to be sweating.
Even though Angel Di Maria didn't have the breaks for the season, he's still an important player to have in your team. You look at the team sheet and you see Di Maria. He's amazing.
It's important he's there for the start of the season as well, because for a player to miss the beginning of the season, it's a big blow, and it's harder to get integrated into the team, and it's harder to, for a player who didn't have, he had I'd say he had a relatively good season.
Well, 10 assists he got.
It's
not too bad.
But I'd know he'd want to improve on it in the future, but I think missing the start of the season is obviously a blow, because it's harder to get going. While the rest of the team have already starting to play well together. You're sitting out,
and especially with Depay as the new transfer, he would be. I presume he'll be battling with Di Maria for that spot.
And Mata, I think.
And Mata, so there's a lot of options for Louis van Gaal.
Competition.
Yeah, it's Manchester United. They should be having all-class competition for places. They certainly do.
And then shortly after that, Gary Medel was booked for
kicking Messi in the chest.
Kicking Messi in the chest. He didn't try and hide it though, which I thought he might have done. But
he's a Pitbull. That's his nickname. Pitbull.
Ran across, kicked him in the chest, tried to help him up, got booked, walked away, just smiled to the camera, which was kind of tricky, but it's what you come to know from the Chile defence.
Yeah, it was South America. Really.
They're not scared. They're not scared of a challenge. And then later on in the game, getting towards that 90-minute stage, the game was kind of dying down. People were getting tired. Subs were being made. Then Higuain popped up. He should have scored this. he missed an absolute sitter. Like the ball's just feathered across, and it's easier to score than miss in that situation.
Yeah, it was brilliant play from Lionel Messi. Glided past two Chilean players, then he threaded a wonderful pass to Lavezzi on the left wing, who then could have shot. However, he decided to play a low cross to the back post and towards Higuain, but he got a foot to it, he hit the side net, but really should have done a lot better.
How many times have we said brilliant play from Messi?
Well,
how many times have you held that
this season?
Yeah, how many times? Messi's just too good.
But again, like Higuain, he's got a reputation now of bottling it in the big occasion, because obviously last year in the World Cup final, he missed a 1-on-1 against Germany in the first half. That was a massive, like, he should have put it away. At least get it on target, test Neuer, but he just absolutely shanked it wide, really.
Shanked it. Shanked your blood. And then on to the penalties.
Nothing happened in extra time, really. I felt like the teams were gearing up for penalties from the final.
They were shattered. You could just see people, like, when they won the ball back, kicking it and then just kind of staying in the same position for a few seconds and then walking. And then we went on to penalties late into the night here in the UK. Stepped up first was Fernandes for Chile, which that penalty was unstoppable. It was just right in the top corner. Romero just dived, but didn't really make an attempt because he knew it was going in. And then the second was who hit the Argentina penalty? Was it Messi?
Yeah, Messi took it
Messi
away. But then again, the big ones were Higuain obviously skied his penalty again. It's rising to this very day. Still is rising.
That's probably why no one's wanting to sign him, because he just, in big occasions, which all often come in the Premier League, with the big occasions of like cup finals, maybe big games against Chelsea's, the Arsenal's, the Man United's, Man City's, Liverpool's, Tottenham's. He will score your goals, maybe against the worst teams, but big occasions, he skied a penalty, he missed an open goal, and then a year ago he missed a massive big chance to put Argentina ahead in the World Cup final, and he just couldn't, which is not good for a player of his, stature, of his, experience. And then on to, and also Eva Banega missed his penalty. Claudio Bravo, who is just a fantastic goalkeeper.
One goalkeeper of the tournament.
Yeah, kept him out. And then Alexis Sanchez probably knew that Chile were going to win it on their fourth penalty, so he stepped up. The pressure on his shoulders, the smile on his face, and he just kind of chipped it down the middle, cool as you like, took his top off and ran to the Chile fans to celebrate their first Copa America title at home in Santiago, which just was amazing for Chile. They've come a long way since Brazil 2014. That rounds up the Copa America final. We did stream live on Twitch while that was going on, and the Women's World Cups. It wasn't semi-final; it was third and fourth playoff thing. We streamed that over on our Twitch. It'll be in the description if you want to go check us out. We got a lot of followers that night, and it was very, very enjoyable for us for our first ever stream. If you want to come in there, guys, and just share some fun with us, you're more than welcome to. Moving on to the Women's World Cup, third and fourth playoff and the final. The third and fourth playoff was played by England and Germany. Surprisingly, England done very, very well in this game. They shut out the Germans. They didn't let them play. They closed them down. They went for it, because disappointment of the semi-final, Laura Bassett hitting in their own goal, which was very, very unfortunate. But England beating Germany with a Farrah Williams penalty not late, but early on in the second half of extra time. And then England kind of just conserved the lead and held on to finish third in the World Cup. As the three Englishmen in on the podcast. What did you guys think of the England?
Well, it was their
performance
first
in the World
win.
Cup?
That was the first win against Germany in 21 attempts. So it was something special, really. And they thoroughly deserved third place because they've had such a good tournament. The expectations at the start of the tournament we're just get to finals, get to the quarterfinals, and we've done well. But Mark Sampson, as a coach, he grew into the tournament so much. The first game against France, England were awful. They were so poor. They're just so poor defensively and attacking.
They just couldn't get started.
But then he got his tactics from that game absolutely spot on, and every game they played, they were terrific. Even against Japan, they lost 2-1. They should have won that game. They had so many chances in the second half. Gil Scott missed one. Tony Duggan hit the crossbar. So it was very unlucky, but it was great to see that Laura Bassett won that, got a bronze medal, and the smile on her face after the heartbreak of scoring an own goal in the last minute to cost England a World Cup finals place. So it was terrific scenes all round, and well done to the Lionesses. We got to say that, well done.
So Tom, do you have anything to say about the final, which happened on Sunday evening? Well, Monday morning, but
the final, it didn't have quite the competitive edge to it that you might hope having a final, but there's still plenty of excitement. 7 goals scored overall. USA, 4-0 up. They scored, just straight from the off, putting the pressure on. And they weren't missing their chances either. Carly Lloyd was the player of the match in the game. She ended up scoring a hat-trick. Her third goal to complete the hat-trick, from the halfway line. It was just an astonishing goal. Not what you expect to see. You don't expect someone to take an effort as crazy as that, in a final when the pressure's on. But I guess by that point, when you got a 3-0 lead so early on, you may as well have some attempts you wouldn't normally do. But yeah, it paid off. She got a hat-trick, and it epitomised the USA's performance in the game. Really, completely dominated it. They were the better team. Second half, things kind of slowed down a little bit. Japan did end up getting 2 goals, and it kind of looked like there was a chance for Japan, like a slight hope that they might end up getting back in the game. But USA, as well as they played, scored the 5th in the end, and just made sure Japan never had a solid chance of getting back in it or hope of winning. So all in all, USA deserved the winners of the Women's World Cup final.
I just wanted to say that, in this tournament, I think a lot of people have been proved wrong about women's football, and that a lot of people were saying, it's women's football, nobody really cares. But a lot of people have been proved wrong. The football at times was really good. Obviously there was the teams like Ivory Coast and that were just really poor, but there was some good quality football being played, and just as good as the men's matches at points. There was some good goals and stuff. It was an enjoyable tournament, and it it promoted women's football in a really good way, I think, the tournament.
So I hope it can grow in the future, even more. I hope this is something that is built upon, and they, especially in the UK, get more, more coverage on. BT Sport occasionally do women's matches, but BT Sport not being really a front runner in terms of coverage. Yeah, and I don't know. I just like to see more women's games overall, really, and I hope this isn't just a one-off thing, and then we have to wait until the next Women's World Cup when all this hype is built up. Hopefully it grows from here on in, and we get to see more of it.
It was great to see the lack of simulation and just abusive language, towards the officials, towards the other towards the opposition too. Obviously the men's game, you get a lot of abusive, you get lots of swear words and all that, not nice stuff, let's be honest. but
Nah,
the women's game does, it feels like they're more approachable. If it was in England, you could easily go to a hotel and talk to them for about 10 minutes, because I don't know. It's yeah. I don't know how to explain.
It's an odd way of looking at it, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I think congratulations to USA, Japan, England and Germany for reaching the last four, which they teams, well, England proved most people wrong by getting so far. Unfortunately, Laura Bassett was just in the wrong place at the wrong. She just tried to defend as much as she could. Unfortunately, went into her own net. Japan went through. I think, see, if England were in the final, I think they would have gave USA a better game.
Much better game.
Yeah, because Japan, see, from the first second, they didn't look like they wanted to be there. They looked nervous. Obviously, if you're in a World Cup final, you're going to look nervous. But they were there 4 years ago against USA, so they looked nervous. They didn't look up for it. They didn't want to be there, which that's what kind of spurred USA into a 4-0 lead in the first 16
well, they could defend
17 minutes. Oh, they were. I think it's because of the height. The height difference was amazing.
Physicality, and that's why I thought England, although they had a couple of set piece chances against Japan, but sadly, for an English point of view, they didn't go in. But yeah, the physicality. It was interesting to see two different styles of football, because obviously USA quite a physical team, but they can still pass it on the ground. But Japan are a very technical side. However, in this game, clearly the physicality won.
Yeah. This has been Switch to Play episode 5. Thanks for listening, guys. We will be back next week, of course, giving you all the best from football. Next week it will probably be more transfers and rumours, because there is no football.
Shorter
it will be a shorter episode. Be sure to write in the comments, guys, what transfers you'd like to see for your team. Links will be down below for our social media, and now our new Twitch channel. If you want to go over there, follow. We will be streaming sometimes, not all the time though, not every day. It is a bye from Mikey.
Bye.
It's a bye from Tom.
Goodbye.
It's a bye from Josh.
Goodbye.
And it's a bye from me.